Have you ever wondered why some people build wealth effortlessly while others struggle, even with the same resources? Is it luck? Intelligence? Or is there something deeper, something psychological, that determines financial success? Welcome to Learn from Audio, where we break down best-selling books into engaging, bite-sized lessons. Today, we're exploring The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, a book that uncovers how your mindset, habits, and emotions shape your financial success more than your income or investments. In this episode, I'll be sharing 8 powerful lessons from the book that can change the way you think about money. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the hidden forces behind wealth, greed, and happiness. Lesson 1. Wealth is what you don't see. Picture this. You're at a stoplight, and a sleek, red Ferrari pulls up next to you. The driver, wearing designer sunglasses and a luxury watch, looks effortlessly cool. Instantly, a thought crosses your mind. That guy must be rich. But here's the catch. Owning a Ferrari doesn't necessarily mean he's wealthy. It just means he spent money on a car. True wealth isn't about what you see. It's about what you don't see. Morgan Housel explains that wealth is the money that hasn't been spent. It's savings, investments, and financial security. The mistake many people make is trying to look rich rather than be rich. They spend on flashy things to impress others instead of securing their financial future. Think about social media. We see people posting photos of extravagant vacations, high-end fashion, and expensive gadgets. It makes us believe they're wealthy. But what we don't see is their bank balance, their debts, or whether they're living paycheck to paycheck just to maintain that image. Think about lottery winners. Many of them go bankrupt within a few years despite receiving millions of dollars. Why? Because they focus on spending rather than accumulating wealth. Contrast that with someone like Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, who still lives in the house he bought in 1958. His wealth isn't displayed, it's working for him behind the scenes. A key example Housel provides is Ronald Read, a janitor and gas station attendant who quietly accumulated an $8 million fortune. How did he do it? Not by looking rich, but by saving diligently and investing wisely over decades. No one knew he was wealthy until after he passed away because he didn't show his wealth, he built it. This is the difference between looking rich and being rich. One is about short-term gratification, the other is about long-term security. The business parallel. This principle also applies to businesses. Many startups burn through funding to create an image of success. Fancy offices, huge marketing budgets, lavish perks, without focusing on actual profitability. They want to appear successful rather than be successful. In contrast, companies like Apple and Amazon thrived because they prioritized reinvesting profits rather than just looking successful. Amazon, for example, operated at a loss for years, choosing to reinvest every dollar into growth. Now, it's one of the most valuable companies in the world. So, how do you apply this lesson to your own life? First, the next time you're tempted to buy something just to show off, ask yourself, am I building wealth, or am I just displaying it? Second, instead of upgrading your car or wardrobe to impress others, consider investing that money into assets that grow over time. And third, build a financial cushion. True wealth is about having options, the ability to make choices without financial stress. The real path to financial security isn't about what others see, it's about the choices you make when no one's watching. And the wealthiest people? They're often the ones you'd never suspect. Lesson 2. The power of compounding and time. Let's talk about one of the greatest financial superpowers, compounding. Imagine 2 people, Jack and Emily. Jack starts investing $100 a month at age 20. Emily, on the other hand, waits until she's 35 but invests twice as much, $200 per month. By the time they reach retirement, who do you think has more money? Surprisingly, Jack, despite investing less overall, ends up wealthier. Why? Because compound interest rewards time more than amount. The earlier you start, the greater the snowball effect of your wealth. Compound interest works like a magic multiplier. It's when your money earns returns, and then those returns also earn returns. Over time, this creates exponential growth. Albert Einstein even called it the eighth wonder of the world. Consider Warren Buffett. Most of his wealth wasn't built by picking the best stocks, it was built through time. He started investing as a child, and by the time he was in his 80s, compounding had turned his investments into one of the largest fortunes in history. If Buffett had started investing in his 40s, he wouldn't be nearly as wealthy. A common mistake people make is thinking in linear terms, believing that doubling your investment will simply double your returns. But compounding follows exponential growth. This means that the longer your money is invested, the faster it grows. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small, barely picking up any snow. But as it keeps rolling, it grows bigger and bigger at a faster rate. That's what compounding does to your wealth. It starts slow, but over decades, it becomes unstoppable. But compounding isn't just about money. It applies to knowledge, skills, and habits too. The more you learn, the more connections you make, and the smarter you become over time. A person who reads 10 pages a day may not seem to be learning much at first, but over a decade, they'll have read hundreds of books and gained invaluable knowledge. Similarly, habits compound. Small, consistent improvements, whether in fitness, learning, or relationships, create massive results over time. The earlier you build good financial habits, like saving and investing, the greater their impact will be. Unfortunately, many people make the mistake of waiting. They think, I'll start saving when I earn more. But by the time they do, they've lost years of potential compounding. Every year you delay could cost you thousands, even millions, in lost growth. For example, if you start investing just $5 a day at age 20, with a modest 7% return, you could retire with over $1 million. But if you wait until 40 to start, you'd need to invest 4 times as much to reach the same goal. Time is the secret ingredient. What this means for you. Start now, no matter how small. Even if you can only save a little, time is your biggest ally. A small investment today is worth far more than a large one later. Be consistent. Compounding only works if you let it. Stay invested, avoid panic selling, and trust the process. Apply compounding to other areas. Keep learning, improving, and making small, positive changes every day. Over time, these habits will transform your life. So, what's the lesson? The sooner you begin, the more powerful compounding becomes, and the more financial freedom you'll have in the future. Don't wait. Your future self will thank you. Lesson 3. The role of luck and risk. Success stories often glorify hard work and smart choices. But what about luck? Morgan Housel argues that luck and risk play a much bigger role in success than we like to admit. Think about Bill Gates. He was brilliant, hardworking, and innovative. But he also happened to attend one of the only high schools in the world with a computer at the time. If he had gone to a different school, would Microsoft exist? That single stroke of luck set him on a trajectory that led to enormous success. A similar story applies to many other billionaires and influential figures. Right place, right time, and a fortunate break often contribute just as much as talent and effort. But because luck is invisible, we tend to ignore it and overcredit personal ability. Now, let's look at the flip side, risk. Meet John, a talented entrepreneur with a groundbreaking idea. He works tirelessly, builds an incredible product, and prepares for success. But then, an economic recession hits. His investors pull out, customers tighten their wallets, and despite his brilliance and effort, his business collapses. Was he any less skilled than a successful entrepreneur? No. He was just on the wrong side of luck. Risk is the shadow side of luck. Just as some people benefit from random fortune, others suffer from unforeseen misfortune. And just like luck, risk is invisible. It doesn't show up in the highlight reels of success stories. This teaches us an important lesson. Success isn't always about effort alone. It's also about external factors beyond our control. We need to acknowledge that some people get lucky while others face setbacks due to circumstances they couldn't predict. However, understanding luck and risk isn't about giving up. It's about staying humble and preparing for both outcomes. If you're successful, recognize that luck played a role, and don't let overconfidence lead to reckless decisions. If you fail, don't be too hard on yourself. Sometimes, things just don't go your way. A great way to navigate this balance is to prepare for risk while positioning yourself for luck. Save more than you think you need. Financial security isn't just about making money. It's about protecting yourself from the unknown. An emergency fund, for example, can be the difference between surviving a crisis or being overwhelmed by it. Diversify your investments. Never bet everything on one opportunity, no matter how promising it seems. Spread your risks, so you're not wiped out by a single setback. Stay in the game long enough for luck to work in your favor. Many successful people didn't win on their first try. They kept going until luck, timing, and skill aligned in their favor. So what's the lesson? Stay humble and keep going. Success isn't just about hard work. It's about patience, resilience, and an awareness of the unseen forces of luck and risk. The key is to stay in the game long enough to benefit from lucky breaks while being prepared to withstand inevitable setbacks. Stay humble in success. Stay resilient in failure. And focus on long-term consistency rather than short-term wins. Lesson 4. The importance of saving. Success stories often celebrate high incomes and smart investments, but the quiet, underrated hero of financial security is saving. Morgan Housel argues that wealth isn't just about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Saving isn't just about reaching a goal. It's about gaining flexibility, freedom, and control over your life. Let's put this into perspective with a story. Sarah and Mike are both 30 years old, working at the same company, earning the same salary. But they handle money very differently. Sarah makes saving a habit. Every month, she sets aside 20% of her income, even when it's inconvenient. Mike, on the other hand, enjoys his hard-earned money to the fullest. He upgrades his car, takes frequent vacations, and convinces himself that saving can wait until he earns more. Then, life happens. Their company downsizes, and both are laid off. Mike is in trouble. His bills don't stop just because his paycheck does. He scrambles to find any job he can, even if it pays less, even if he hates it. Sarah, however, has a year's worth of savings. Instead of panicking, she takes her time. She explores new opportunities, maybe even starts a business. While Mike is trapped by his financial obligations, Sarah is free to make choices that align with her future goals. This is the power of saving. It's not just about money, it's about control over your life. Many people think of saving as a sacrifice, as if it means giving up fun and living a boring life. But in reality, saving isn't about deprivation, it's about empowerment. Saving gives you options. Want to leave a toxic job? Take a break? Move to a new city? Your savings decide whether you can or not. Savings protect you from uncertainty. The unexpected always happens. Layoffs, medical emergencies, market crashes. Having money set aside gives you the ability to handle life's surprises without going into panic mode. Saving helps you invest wisely. The wealthiest people aren't the ones who take wild financial risks. They are the ones who save consistently, so they never have to take desperate risks just to survive. How to start saving today? You don't need to be a financial expert to build savings. You just need to start, no matter how small. Make saving automatic. Set up an automatic transfer to your savings account each time you get paid. Treat it like a non-negotiable bill. Spend less than you earn. A simple rule, but the foundation of financial freedom. Track your expenses, cut unnecessary costs, and prioritize your future self. Save for flexibility, not just for purchases. It's great to save for a car or a vacation, but also save for the unknown, for the moments when you'll need freedom the most. Start now, even if it's small. A small amount saved today is worth far more than a large amount saved someday. The habit is more important than the amount. So what's the lesson? Saving money isn't about buying things. It's about buying freedom. It's the difference between being forced into bad decisions and having the power to make the right ones. The more you save, the more control you have over your future. At the end of the day, wealth isn't measured by the things you own, but by the choices you have. Lesson 5. Tail risks and the power of being prepared. When we think about financial success, we often picture a smooth, predictable climb, a steady path toward wealth. But reality tells a different story. The biggest financial events, the ones that make or break fortunes, aren't routine. They are rare, extreme, and completely unpredictable. These are called tail risks. Let's put this into perspective with a story. Meet James. He's a smart investor who's been steadily growing his portfolio for years. He follows the market, makes calculated decisions, and assumes things will go as planned. His friend Alex invests too, but with a different mindset. She understands that the biggest financial shocks aren't always foreseeable, so she keeps a large emergency fund, diversifies her investments, and never over-leverages. Then, disaster strikes. A market crash wipes out 40% of investments overnight. James, who put every dollar into high-risk stocks, is devastated. He needs to sell at a loss just to cover expenses. Alex, on the other hand, stays calm. She has cash reserves, so she doesn't need to panic sell. In fact, she sees this as an opportunity to buy investments at a discount. This is the power of being prepared for tail risks. It's not about predicting the next crisis. It's about ensuring that when chaos hits, you're not financially ruined. Why tail risks matter? A tail risk is an extreme, unlikely event with massive consequences. Think about the 2008 financial crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, or the dot-com bubble. These weren't everyday market dips. They reshaped economies, businesses, and personal fortunes overnight. Morgan Housel explains that the best investors, businesses, and individuals don't survive because they can predict the future. They survive because they prepare for the worst. They leave room for error. Instead of assuming everything will go smoothly, they plan for things to go wrong. They don't invest every last dollar. They keep emergency funds and maintain cash reserves. They focus on resilience over maximum returns. Instead of chasing the highest gains, they ensure they can withstand downturns. A great example of this mindset is Amazon. Jeff Bezos didn't build Amazon by trying to predict every crisis. Instead, he focused on resilience. Amazon reinvests profits instead of paying them all out. It maintains flexible costs, so it can adapt to downturns. It keeps cash reserves, ensuring it can survive economic shocks. That's why Amazon doesn't just survive crises, it thrives in them. The same principle applies to your personal finances. You can't predict the next market crash, recession, or personal emergency. But you can prepare. Build an emergency fund. Aim for 6 to 12 months of expenses saved in cash. This gives you a financial cushion when things go wrong. Diversify your investments. Don't put all your money in one asset, industry, or market. Spread out your risk. Live below your means. The lower your financial obligations, the easier it is to handle setbacks. Prioritize financial flexibility over chasing the highest returns. A slightly lower return is worth it if it helps you sleep at night. So what's the lesson? Expect the unexpected. The biggest financial risks aren't the ones you see coming. They're the ones that blindside you. The ability to withstand setbacks is more important than the ability to maximize gains. In the long run, survival is the key to success. Lesson 6. Freedom, the ultimate dividend. What does money really buy? Many people think of luxury, cars, houses, vacations, or expensive gadgets. But Morgan Housel argues that the most valuable thing money can buy isn't material, it's freedom. Let's put this into perspective with a story. Meet Daniel. He's a high-earning executive, making 6 figures a year. He has a luxury apartment, a sports car, and an impressive job title. But there's a catch. His schedule is brutal. He works late nights, answers emails on weekends, and barely sees his family. He feels trapped, but he can't afford to quit because his expensive lifestyle depends on his paycheck. Then there's Ryan, who earns significantly less but has structured his finances differently. He lives in a modest home, keeps his expenses low, and has built a strong savings cushion. Because of this, he works on his own terms, spending time with his kids and pursuing his passions. While Daniel feels chained to his career, Ryan has control over his time. Who is truly wealthier? Housel argues that true wealth isn't about how much money you have, it's about how much control you have over your time. It's the ability to wake up and decide how to spend your day. It's being able to say no to things that don't align with your values. It's walking away from toxic jobs, taking time off, or pursuing a passion without financial fear. Many people assume financial freedom comes from earning more, but that's not always the case. Some of the wealthiest people are those who live simply, save diligently, and prioritize flexibility over status symbols. Housel shares the story of working-class families who achieve financial independence, not by making millions, but by living below their means and saving aggressively. These individuals retire early, work only when they want to, and enjoy a level of security that even some high earners don't have. The difference? They focused on controlling their time rather than chasing material wealth. The same lesson applies to businesses. Companies with strong cash reserves thrive in downturns. They can innovate, invest, and make decisions based on long-term goals. Companies drowning in debt struggle. They are forced to make short-term decisions just to stay afloat. Whether at an individual or corporate level, financial freedom isn't about making more, it's about needing less. You don't have to be a millionaire to achieve freedom. Here's how you can start. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Just because you get a raise doesn't mean you need a bigger house or a fancier car. The more financial obligations you have, the less freedom you'll maintain. Save aggressively, not just for retirement, but for flexibility. An emergency fund or walk-away money gives you the power to make choices that serve you. Build passive income streams. The more you earn without trading time for money, the more control you have over your life. So what's the lesson? True wealth isn't measured by what you own, it's measured by how much control you have over your time. The greatest dividend money pays is the ability to live life on your own terms. Lesson 7. Wealth is what you don't see. When we think of wealth, we often picture luxury, expensive cars, designer clothes, and sprawling mansions. But Morgan Housel argues that true wealth isn't what you see, it's what you don't spend. Let's put this into perspective with a story. Meet James and Robert. James drives a sleek sports car, wears the latest designer suits, and vacations in the most exclusive destinations. On the surface, he looks incredibly wealthy. But what people don't see is the reality behind the scenes. His car payments are sky high, His credit card debt keeps piling up, and he's living paycheck to paycheck despite his six-figure salary. Robert, on the other hand, lives differently. He drives a modest car, wears simple clothes, and skips the flashy purchases. To outsiders, he doesn't look rich. But what they don't see is that Robert has been saving and investing for years. He has no debt, a growing investment portfolio, and enough savings to retire early if he chooses. So who is truly wealthier? This is one of the most important financial lessons. Just because someone looks rich doesn't mean they are rich. Many high-income earners fall into the trap of spending everything they make, mistaking a high salary for real wealth. But true wealth isn't about income, it's about what you keep. Housel compares wealth to fitness. A healthy body isn't built by one intense workout, it's built through consistent, unseen effort, daily exercise, healthy eating, and discipline. Wealth works the same way. The strongest financial foundation isn't built on visible displays of money but on consistent saving, investing, and financial discipline. Behind every truly wealthy person is a series of quiet financial decisions. Choosing to drive a used car instead of taking on massive car payments. Living in a home they can afford instead of stretching their budget to impress others. Prioritizing long-term security over short-term luxury. These choices don't turn heads, but they build real financial strength. The best thing about wealth isn't just security, it's freedom. The more savings and investments you have, the more control you gain over your life. You can take career risks, say no to toxic workplaces, or retire early. You have the power to help loved ones when they need it. But if you spend every dollar you earn trying to keep up appearances, you're stuck in a cycle of constant financial stress. Want to build financial strength behind the scenes? Here's how. First, spend less than you earn. Simple, but powerful. Second, resist lifestyle inflation. Just because you earn more doesn't mean you need to spend more. And third, invest consistently. Let your money grow over time instead of spending it for short-term gratification. So what's the lesson? Financial success isn't about what people see, it's about what happens behind the scenes. True wealth is quiet, secure, and powerful. It's not about impressing others, it's about giving yourself freedom, peace of mind, and control over your future. Lesson 8. The power of long-term thinking. We live in a world that glorifies quick wins, overnight success, viral fame, and instant gratification. But Morgan Housel reminds us that the greatest financial rewards don't come from chasing short-term gains. They come from thinking long-term. Imagine two investors, Emma and Jake. Emma starts investing modestly at 20, setting aside a small amount each month. She doesn't make huge bets, doesn't chase the latest trends. She simply stays consistent. Jake, on the other hand, waits until 40 to start investing but puts in twice as much as Emma each year. Fast forward to retirement. Who has more wealth? Despite investing less money overall, Emma has significantly more than Jake. Why? Because she gave time the chance to work in her favor. Compounding, the process of earning returns on both your initial investment and the returns it generates, works like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first, it's small and unimpressive, but as it keeps rolling, it gathers more snow and momentum, becoming massive over time. This is the secret behind Warren Buffett's success. Yes, he's a brilliant investor, but his real advantage is time. He started investing at 10 years old, meaning his money has been compounding for over 75 years. If he had started at 30 instead, his fortune would be only a fraction of what it is today. Most people underestimate the impact of time and overestimate the importance of making big moves. They think they need to find the perfect investment when in reality, just staying invested for a long time matters more. They focus on how much they invest instead of how long they invest. They chase quick gains, pulling their money in and out of markets, breaking the compounding cycle in the process. Housel's key insight: you don't have to be a genius investor. You just have to be patient. This principle doesn't just apply to money, it applies to everything in life. Saving consistently over time leads to financial security. Building skills year after year creates career opportunities. Nurturing relationships for decades leads to stronger personal and professional networks. Making small, smart choices daily snowballs into a stable, successful life. Short-term thinking keeps you chasing. Long-term thinking lets you build. How to develop a long-term mindset. First, resist instant gratification. Whether it's splurging on luxury purchases or chasing risky investments, short-term pleasure often comes at the expense of long-term wealth. Second, stay invested. Markets go up and down, but historically, they rise over time. The worst investment is the one you pull out of too soon. And third, be patient. The biggest financial rewards go to those who allow time to do the heavy lifting. So what's the lesson? Success isn't about making the biggest moves. It's about making small, consistent moves over time. Compounding is the secret weapon of wealth, and time is its most powerful ally. The sooner you start, the greater the rewards. Alright, let's lock in the biggest lessons from the psychology of money. First, wealth is what you don't see. It's not the flashy cars or designer clothes. It's your savings and investments that build true financial security. Second, time beats amount. The secret to wealth: start investing early and let compounding do the heavy lifting. Third, luck and risk matter. No one wins 100% of the time. Stay humble, stay prepared, and keep playing the game. Fourth, your money mindset is shaped by experience. We all have financial biases based on our past. Recognize them and make smarter choices. Fifth, greed can ruin everything. Define what's enough for you, or you'll always be chasing. Sixth, the real goal is freedom. Money isn't about more stuff. It's about buying back your time. Seventh, no one knows the future. So stop trying to time the market. Long-term investing wins. And lastly, simplicity wins. Fancy strategies aren't necessary. Good financial habits matter more. Here is a challenge for you. Pick one lesson from today and apply it to your life. Maybe that means saving more, finally starting that investment, or redefining what wealth means to you. Small steps lead to big results. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, like this video and subscribe to Learn from Audio for more engaging book breakdowns. Share this with someone who needs a little money wisdom in their life. Thanks for tuning in. Stay smart, stay curious, and keep learning.